Welcome to Phipps Talk. As always, we're always excited to have you with us. And we're looking forward to a very exciting session this afternoon with one of Boston's finest. We always try to bring you the best, whether it's from Boston or across the globe. And today, we're going to visit with a wonderful young lady who is doing lots of awesome things in the neighborhood and around Massachusetts. I will sort of minimize my introduction so that you can get to hear from her about a number of things she's doing. But most importantly, a big event coming up on May 12th, which is the Blackbiz Ball. And she will give you details about that. But I want you to start listening very carefully to all the things she says and try to figure out how you can tune in, how you can connect and become a part of this exciting movement in terms of Black business and opportunities in that arena. And leading that charge right now is a wonderful young lady that we mentioned a moment ago. And I will now open up the discussion in a way that she can share a lot more with you. That awesome young lady is Marie Firmin, recognized by many as one of the leading business owners in the city and think tank for making businesses grow successfully in the space that she covers. Without any further ado, Marie, so nice to have you with us.
Thank you, Mr. Phipps. I truly appreciate being on your show. It's always a good conversation with you when I'm on this show, so it's always good. Thank you.
Now you're going to share some interesting things with us there. One about the organizations you've developed, the purpose for developing, and how that's impacted our community, or how it can impact the community and lives in the community, as well as business opportunities and the other things that you're supporting to create networking opportunities and recognition for Black business owners. And this all starts with you. So you tell me where you want to start. Let's talk about you as a community member, as a passionate leader in the business arena. As a lady with great vision, let's have that conversation.
I come from the Ruggles Street projects that just got torn down, and you know, my heart kind of sunk because it's where I got all of my ability to be able to communicate with people, to be able to understand, and to be able to work in community. So my parents were phenomenal. I was very blessed to have a mother who was an activist, and she fought, and I watched her fight. I walked with her with Martin Luther King when I was very young on a, when we were protesting. So from there, she was involved in so many other things that I watched her. And when she opened up a school tutoring program in the projects for kids in the projects so that they could develop their abilities to go to college, I was one of the first tutors in that program. And I was 13 years old, and I didn't really do that well, you know, as well as my sisters did in school. But I loved learning. So, you know, I couldn't understand why I couldn't get an A in math because I loved it so much. But I never could get that A for some reason.
You had an early start.
But I was able to be a tutor to a first grader, and she went from all F's to A's. And I said, oh my goodness, I've got something going here. So my mother would say, you're going to be an educator, you're going to be a teacher. I know you are. You're going to be a teacher. That's what she would say to me, like every day or every week. Or often enough that that's all I remembered, and I became a teacher.
She had plans for you.
And
that
she
you
had
didn't know
plans
about.
for me. So I became a teacher, and I taught at Madison Park High School. I taught during a time where the high school was in turmoil. The kids were in the hallways all the time. And I was teaching early child development, and I had a lot of young ladies in my class who weren't necessarily interested in early child development, but they had babies. They were young teen mothers, and they had babies, and their boyfriends and friends would be outside of my classroom. So I asked the principal, can I let those boys in my classroom so I could teach them about their early childhood? And that became, part of my legacy. He allowed me to let the boys, and these boys were often in and out of jail, they were in gangs, but they came into my classroom, and I taught them about their early childhood development and their experience. And it became like a session for all of the girls and all of the boys to come together through the development, understanding their own development process. So I couldn't, I wasn't that interested in getting them to work with little kids. I wanted more for them to understand themselves. Wow. And for them to be able to, work with kids and love children, which they liked children, but they didn't know what to do with children, So Page Academy was around during that time, and they allowed me to bring those students to Page Academy's classrooms. And the boys didn't want to work with the children because they said, that's not macho for us. We don't want to do that. But we'll clean up. We'll clean outside. We'll make toys. Oh, we can make a basketball court for children. Wow. So that's when it dawned on me that, wow, I need to expand this curriculum, and I need to start teaching these kids entrepreneurship and how to create things and solve problems. So the next thing I know, they did away with the child development program, and I became an entrepreneurship teacher. So wow. That was right up my alley. I didn't know much about entrepreneurship, but I was going to teach it, and I was going to learn it. And after a couple of years of really working out the curriculum, because when a teacher teaches something for the first time, they've got to figure out what works for that classroom or that group of students. And so I was definitely into developing curriculum and working it inside my classroom. So I just became, I became passionate about this because I saw the students that I had who were going in and out of jail come back to me to say, oh, miss, are you still teaching that class? And I said, yes. Are you going to come back to school? He said, if I could just take your class, because, I incorporated hip hop in it. I had people from the community coming through my class, talking to the kids. I mean, I had free reign because it was a new class and nobody really knew what to teach. So I had business people. I had that business book that I used with all of the businesses in it at the time. I've forgotten the name of it offhand. And we would cut out pages of the book to see what kind of businesses they would start, and et cetera. And it just became a very engaging class for the students. Different than teaching straight English, straight math, but incorporated all of those things. And I wanted to incorporate literacy. So I went back to school to learn how to incorporate literacy in this wonderful entrepreneurship class, and the school department decided, we don't need entrepreneurship anymore. We are going to have MCAS, and the MCAS days started, and I left the school system because it wasn't what I thought, our students needed at the time. I mean, I definitely thought that they needed literacy, but not in the way that they had been given it, because many of them just dropped out of school. And during that time, you know, our students were dropping out of school.
You said
So-
something very interesting. And you said, you know, you taught it in an engaging way. And today I know I have some connections to the Re-Engagement Center. And I know there's still a lot of dropouts today. And so they still haven't solved that problem
That's right.
of engaging students in a way that sort of makes them feel productive and connected to the process.
Yes.
So what I want to ask is, as you look towards engagement of the folks you'll be dealing with, obviously you've left an imprint on some young men and women who had the opportunity to be in your presence in the classroom in the manner that they were really engaged and wanted to be there. Now, as you transitioned to the entrepreneurship field, were you able to find ways to engage the youngsters in the same way that they would grow socioeconomically as well? And if so, how was that experience? And I'm going to leave you for a minute. I want to give you that before we leave and tip our audience, because we're going to come back in a minute and have a discussion about how that works and engage some of the video activity for people who have been successful since then in terms of your work. That works for you?
That works.
So 2 and 2, we'll be right back at you. And stay with us. Some engaging information coming at you through the pause.
Hi. Can I get the now bar, please?
No problem. $1.
Have a good one.
Got it.
Hi, can I get a now bar, please? Uh-huh.
$1.
Thanks.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Hey, let me get a now bar.
Sure.
$1.
Appreciate you.
You got it.
How's it going? Can I get a now bar?
Hey, stop right there! Get down on the ground out of your spot right there! Come on, over your head! On the ground!
That would have set up the directory. Okay. So let's do the person that has been a success as far as your entrepreneur program.
Okay, they are not part of my entrepreneur program because
There's a community business.
They're awardees for the ball.
Okay.
So that's different. My entrepreneur program was in this.
Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzz and overshared again?
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
that's a smart idea.
So, yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
I promised you lots of exciting information coming at you through this session. And we're going to go back to the awesome young lady with all the answers relative to this process in terms of entrepreneurship, financial literacy, black business development in total. And right now, we're going to talk to her about one of her awardees that would otherwise, not having had the opportunity, would have been one of the students from our program. But since that program was part of her early process, we now have individuals who she's identified with her team as successful entrepreneurs, one of which you will see coming up shortly in this video, and that could be you next year, because this Blackbiz Ball recognizes small businesses in the community for the good deeds that they do in serving community and the contributions that they make to our success.
Greetings. My name is Susie Rich, and me, along with my husband Doug, we are the owners of Susie Stories, located at 51 Bearskin Neck, Rockport, Mass. I am one of the community awardees for the 2022 Blackbiz Ball. Susie Stories feature a selection of carefully curated books ranging from classic to contemporary, meant for everyone, from the very young to the more mature reader. Our cornerstone efforts are to increase awareness in our community around education, diversity, and extreme weather and safety events. At Susie Stories, we believe that we carry the spirit of Emoja every day and try to represent it no matter where we are.
Everybody has a story. What is your story? Everybody's passed a journey, a path that they can share their experience successfully with others in order to help that person with whom they share the experience a better person, create a better opportunity, but it all has to be positive. If it's not positive, it can be destructive, and we want your stories to influence others positively and move their lives and opportunities forward in a very progressive manner. And right now, we're going to go back to one of those most progressive stories that I'm aware of in our community, and that is Marie Firmin, to share with us the rest or some more of her story.
So I'm going to bring it to two things. From that experience as an educator, I went on to try to learn more about teaching entrepreneurship so that I could be more of an expert in it, and I could come back to develop the programs that youth need in order to develop, to give them skills that are entrepreneurial so that they can face their life experience with those skills that I believe are skills that every one of us needs. So I started Ebony 100, which was an online digital directory. It's a training directory to train businesses to be digital. And so there's a learning curve with ebony100.com. So businesses have to put in their information, they get a web page, they have an experience that is different than just throwing their business on a list. So they get to actually use the tools in Ebony 100 to develop their digital skills, which is something that I believe that our businesses need to develop. So, that directory, Ebony 100, is something that most people can get in, because if you are thinking about a business idea, you can put your information in the directory. If you have a business, you can put your information in. If you are an experienced business, you want to share your information with other businesses, you can put your information in. So it's a training directory, it's a developmental directory, it's different than directories that exist just for people to put their information in. So you can use it every day, you can use it every hour, you can use it once a month, you can use it. You are the one who controls it. I don't control it. You control it. So you can use it to learn, you can come in free, and then when you get some skills, you can pay a little bit, and then you use the tools, which are about 20 tools in that directory. But anyhow, the directory is there for us to learn how to be digital. So that's Ebony 100. Now, because of Ebony 100, I had so many businesses in there that I decided that I should give an event to help support the directory, because it's very expensive to run. And so I'm giving, last year, I developed an event called Blackbiz Ball. And this year, we are giving that event again this year. And it's an event to celebrate 28 local businesses. That means businesses that are local, small businesses. And they're in Boston. And this year, we decided to expand to Gloucester. We have some from Gloucester, from Lynn, from other parts, Cambridge. But most of the businesses are from Boston.
So these businesses can be from anywhere in Massachusetts.
Yeah, as long as they're
Basically,
local
that's-
businesses. We don't want big businesses that are already, doing so well that, we want local businesses that are just starting out, or they're just developing, or they had, COVID issues and they're trying to get themselves back together, so they need to be exposed. So that's what the ball is about. 28 of them. Last year we did 28, and this year we're doing 28.
They say the small businesses are the backbone of America.
That's right.
So if small businesses are the backbone of America, you must be the spinal cord.
No, small businesses are the backbone of America.
Yes.
That's how we started. Many of us have small businesses because our income from our job wage just doesn't get it, and so we need small businesses. But we're doing all of this, the directory, the event. We have other programs that we are trying to promote, trying to get funding for, that we have on the yellow brick road, and one of the things that we really are trying to do, we're trying to raise money for our new nonprofit.
Okay.
So Ebony,
that's the piece I was going to get to.
The new nonprofit is about our youth.
So that's the piece I want to get to and spend some time on, because when you say raising funds, I'm sure it's connected to education. I know that the IRS recognizes in a big way the need for education and funding, and the 501c3s are specifically intended to provide resources for education through the charitable process.
Yes.
But before we get there, you were talking early about the directory and its function to community, benefit the community, and that's what I want to touch on, because you do a lot of things that benefit the community, although I'm not sure they're all recognized as such. So I want to be sure that we mark the lines so that people understand when you say business directory, it is for small businesses with the intent of helping them to, as you said, become digitally conscious or digitally aware or skilled, and you have several tools on there to help them to move their businesses along in the digital economy.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So people can go to your directory, Ebony
100.
Ebony100.com.
Yes.
And join by putting their business, their logo, their images on that site for free, which is a big plus in the digital economy. And then as they choose to expand their digital footprint or access, they can, for small or nominal amounts, utilize additional tools along the path, along the way, to be able to expand their reach.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
want to make sure that that's very clear.
You always get it correct. That is exactly what happened. Because learning is dimensional. We start here and then we grow. And so if you come to our directory, it's about you starting somewhere and then growing. And once you've grown, you know that you are hitting your markets, because you're putting videos in once a week or once a month, or you're putting blogs to talk about your industry, or you're putting something on your webpage that's going to keep people updated with what you do. You know what I mean? And including you've got your website there, you got your social media links. So you can go in and you can put a video in, send it to your social media links just like that.
Very good. Now I know that that is part of your small business development program.
Yes, definitely.
And I'd like to move now from the small business development to the literacy program, the relationship to what you do and the ball. I said literacy, I
Okay.
meant the ball as it is.
Yes.
So what I'd like you to think of as we move to the break now is the creation of the ball, what led to the creation of the ball. You mentioned it briefly earlier, but I'd like to explore a little bit more so that listeners get knowledge about the development and their opportunity to participate, whether it's a small business or whether it's an individual
That's
who would
right.
like to get tickets to come to the ball and how they would reach out to you.
Okay.
And then we'll sort of follow the other video that we're doing this session and see how we can help your business supporting community to grow and impact, have a greater impact in community or on community. Does that work for you?
That works for me. Thank you.
2 and 2, we'll be right back at you.
Welcome to Ebony 100, the online digital directory for small businesses, particularly Black businesses. I'm going to take you through the login process. Okay, if you're a new person, that means that you're a business, you're an executive, you're someone who wants to be in business and has a good idea, then you can be in the directory. All you have to do is join today. And when you join today, the directory will open up to the 4 categories. But even before that, I want to go back to the home page because I want to show you the full home page to just give you an idea of what we are doing from a holistic perspective. So on the home page, you have search members, review members, contact members. Then you have, are you a Black-owned business? Because this directory is primarily for Black-owned businesses. About Ebony 100, you have entrepreneurship, EAP training program for entrepreneurs new to being in business. And then you have the Blackbiz Ball, which is our signature event that we gave last year and we will be giving this year. Here are some of our new silver and gold members. Here are some of their videos. We have videos of lectures. We have videos of performances. And here are some of our newest articles. And your valuable feedback is always important to us so that we can continue to improve our directory. So this is your login. You're going to log in to join today, or if you're already a member, you're going to log into your member login. Okay? And usually your member login will be at the top with your picture if you've put in enough information into your profile. Thank you.
How about education along the way? We give you all that we have to offer. Now that bit of education or information and education, but you got the information about the directory, but you got the instructions on how to access the directory. Now, I'd like you, if you are part of this audience now, to be able to visit that directory and leave a comment of some kind so that Marie, my friend, knows that you went there and took some action, because it is only by doing so can you enhance the opportunity for yourself and for others as part of that business directory. So do your friend a favor, go to the website, the 101 the
Ebony 100.
Ebony 101, yes. And at least put your information in so Marie knows that you're thinking and caring about what she's doing for our community. Marie, back to you.
Could I say something?
Of course.
I also developed a curriculum while I was at Madison and after I finished Madison, and I turned the curriculum into a class, a course, an online self-directed course that I'm planning on selling, working with nonprofits and selling to businesses who want their staffs to have entrepreneurial skills, and that is on my Ebony 100 website.com. And it's called the EAP program, Entrepreneurship Apprenticeship Practicum. And just to say, it has 7 modules. It has a module on self-development, because that was the key to me helping kids stay engaged. I dealt with their self, with what they were interested in, what they wanted to do, what their experience was first. And then I gave them information about their cultural experience, about culture. That engaged them. And then I got technical and went into oratory, how to speak, how to be, and how to civic leadership, something that really isn't taught to all the students in schools. Civic leadership, how to communicate with our political people, our legislators. And then we went into technology and green energy. See, because once you help students understand that they have the answers within themselves, then they're engaged with you. You know, if you keep it outside of them, because, youth they're narcissistic. They want to talk about themselves. They want to talk about their interests. So that is how to keep them engaged. So we go into technology, then we do business, marketing, business application, and all the time that they're studying, they're developing a business at the same time. Or they're working for a business that they're interested in, or they're doing a practicum. So that training program is also on my ebony100.com.
I kept saying Ebony 101. I'm glad. Thanks for correcting me. Ebony
100.
Yes. The phrase that catches me is entrepreneurial assistance practicum.
Yeah. Apprentice practicum.
Okay, entrepreneurial apprentice practicum. Because when you said that, what came to mind is employee assistance program.
Oh, yeah.
Because you mentioned also employers helping their employees to become more entrepreneurial.
That's
so they can help to move the business forward. So it works both ways. I like that. I like that connection, that coin.
That's good.
EAP.
That is so true. That's so true.
Now, the other thing that keeps coming back to me, Marie, as you talk through this entrepreneurial process is the fact that people are doing things that are of interest to them. They're not listening to information, directed to them that have no specific bearing on their lives in that moment. So that's why I understand from other educators, children drop out, children drift or don't pay attention. And, one of the things that when I say people, I hear frequently is students have short attention spans or attention deficit or disorder. And, when I hear other educators say, it's not attention deficit disorder or short attention spans, is that they're not providing the information that children or youth need to engage them. It's all about society's needs rather than the individual need. So I hope that as educators like you move through the system, that we're able to help educators, because I know that from information provided here, that most of the folks that listen or follow this program are educators at the college level and so forth. So I hope that those individuals are able to hear your voice and that of others in the teaching space. I have a 27, 28-year-old who has been teaching for a few years now, and she said, "Dad, you persuaded me to teach, and I'm going to strangle you." When I hear the stories that she's telling me, I understand why she wants to strangle me. But she's a loving daughter, and I don't think she'll hurt her dad. But the fact that she's having, challenges with dealing with parents in the system and the same attention deficits, but not because the kids aren't interesting, because she said the kids are very interested in what's happening, is that we're not addressing their needs in the process. And it's very difficult within the system to be able to address the student needs because they're thinking about the larger body of need.
Exactly.
Now I want to move from the profit and to the nonprofit component and talk more about the Blackbiz Ball and how that came to be and the impact it's likely to have as you recognize people for the work they do. Because I know that's one thing that moves the needle forward, people getting recognized or acknowledged. And in the world that we live in, that's something that most people like to have or appreciate. And we want to be able to demonstrate our appreciation for the small businesses. And you're doing a good job of that with the Blackbiz Ball. Let us talk more about the Blackbiz Ball.
Okay. So the Blackbiz Ball is, it's going to be a fun event, but it's going to have a lot of really good information shared during the event. Our speakers are going to speak on specific topics that relate to businesses. One of our speakers will be speaking on the music industry, the other one, music and art industry, and the happenings with that. Another one's going to talk about mental health in youth. Another one will talk about business. Ayanna Presley is going to be there, and she always has such beautiful things to say of her work and what she's doing for businesses, for our community. So everybody who is speaking, and excuse me, Mr. Phipps will be talking about what real estate and business. So all of our speakers are going to be hitting topics that are going to be important to the businesses and important to all of us in terms of the lives that we live and what we do, whether we're business owners or whether we're consumers of the businesses that we develop. And hopefully the businesses we develop help to solve real problems. But one of the things I wanted to share with everyone is that we are using the Kwanzaa principles, the Nguza Saba principles, to give our awards. And one of the reasons, and those principles are unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. And our awardees get awarded based on a principle. Even though they may fulfill all of those principles, we give them an award based on one of the principles. And they really like it. As you saw Susie's store, she mentioned her principle that she's being awarded in. And she, didn't know that she was going to be awarded in these principles, and she took it because these principles are natural. They're principles that we really practice. Most of us who are good people practice anyhow, But we use those principles, and I've used them in my class to help engage students, even those thugged out students who would be going to jail. When I taught them the principles, they were engaged and had a discussion around it. I use it in my businesses. I'll be using it in my nonprofit because we've got to have a value system. And you know, the reason that most businesses, I believe, don't really deal with racism and economic justice is because they don't have a value system. It's all about money. And yeah, it is about money, and I like money. I'm trying to make money. But at the same time, I think a value system is something that we've got to encourage our businesses to have, because they can fall back on it. If they fail, they can fall back. They can use that value system to keep going and to dissolve, you know, the issues that businesses have as they are growing.
Now you just brought me to a point where I have been interested in exploring. And folks, you heard it here first. UNITY. Now, if you break that down, it says you and I together yet. So when we talk about unity, and remember, you heard it here first. So when you talk about unity, you're thinking not of yourself, but the other person with whom you will become united together in order to accomplish something. I know that in a few conversations recently with members of the new administration for the city of Boston, Mayor Wu's team, there's a lot of conversation about collaboration, about unity, about accomplishing more together, about acquiring more together. You know, I'm going to say this, and I'll leave it with you, and we'll go right back to Marie. If 5 people have $10,000 together, that's $50,000. And $50,000 can create a business, have an impact on the business, on the community, with the right plan. But if those 5 people stay separated or segmented with a $10,000 each, that's what it is, $10,000 each. And you would, you know, to start any business, you'll have a challenging time if you know, with $10,000, with all the work that has to be done, although it can be done. So I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm saying if those 5 people unite behind a common goal, with $50,000, that business can go a lot further than struggling with $10,000 each individual to start a business. So it's concepts that's being shared in the city, shared in your community. So I raise that so we can encourage you to buy into the sharing, the united concept, to be able to move forward rather than being on an island by yourself and not having that opportunity. And now back to our guests.
I just want to give credit to Page Academy for teaching me the Kwanzaa principles and encouraging me to use it with my students at Madison Park. I've used it in every way that I could because I felt like, and I've used it, you know, in my own life in raising my son and my nephew and in my grandchildren. They know it, and I just think that they're principles that we all can hold dear, and they are universal. So everybody can use those principles.
We're going to pause, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about the ball, the location of the ball, getting tickets to the ball, supporting the ball, sponsoring the ball, you know, all the things, transportation to the ball. Yes. We're going to come back and talk about all those things in just a minute, 2 and 2. And I borrow that. We'll be right back at you. I got to give credit to Mr. Trebek.
My name is Sharif Muhammad. I've been a teacher in the Boston Public Schools for about 20 years. And I also am an artist. And I love creating portraits of Black and brown beauty and Black and brown empowerment. So these are some of my portraits that are in my classroom right now. And I also I decided to use my portraits to create Black cards, which are basically playing cards with Black kings and queens. So I I was playing cards with my kids and I realized that all the kings and queens are always white, and so I wanted to do something about that. So here are my playing cards. It's the Joker, the Jack, and the Queen, just as some examples of some of my work. So it started off as a hobby, doing my art. It's just something that I love to do, and I've sort of turned it into a small business. I create art on iPad, using an iPad, basically digital art, and then I create really nice, high quality prints for my art. So thank you very much.
Now, he said something very interesting just now, and I'm going to go to the light side of things. So I don't. Now you have to be careful what you say in the media. So I don't want you to take this out of context. However, he said all the kings and queens are usually white. As you know, I have a small challenge. We won't get into it. But I'm wondering what color the devil was. Now, we'll leave that right there.
That was.
I don't want to take it any further. It was just a point I wanted to raise.
Wow, I never thought about that.
I couldn't resist that one from my audience. So at any rate, we want to talk about the ball, as I said, and in terms of, I know you're recognizing 28 businesses. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit more about the ball, how it came about, and what's happening.
So I have a very multicultural team, and about a year ago, a couple of the members of my team, still a couple of the members of my team were from Gloucester. And one of them introduced me to this fabulous hotel on the water. And I wasn't really initially interested, because I'm from Boston, I'm from Roxbury. It's like, why would I give a ball out there? Well, when I went to the hotel and I saw it, I was just like, we need this, we need to come out here. This is like going to the vineyard,
Yeah.
and people can come, and it's on the water, it's COVID, so the doors will be wide open. We'll be able to get air. We'll follow all the protocols for COVID that day and what the hotel requires. The hotel and I had, an experience when I went to visit, a sort of negative experience initially. I won't share it, but